I'm moving, I would talk about, well, I've talked about before, or at least I'm making a vlog on it, about like how this is the most expensive temper tantrum I've ever had. I think I'm gonna let go of that phrasing from now on, like moving forward, because I've noticed like one person in my life is already like holding it over my head, and I'm like, this was supposed to be a cute little joke, not a joke no more, because you're a bitch. But anyway, I want to make a video about the things I have learned, or at least what's changed in me, or I believe has changed in me since I moved to California, and I'm moving right the fuck back. One big thing, like one quick thing that I noticed is like mindsets. I've noticed in interacting with like New Yorkers, or at least one New Yorker in my life, and what he talked about how New Yorkers were, and then interacting with the California girl, and then like interacting with Californians like over the phone. I've noticed, I think like coasts mimic each other or mirror each other. And you know how in the Midwest we're like, there's a Midwestern mindset of like, oh, we're not the South, but then you move to a coast like East or West, bitch, you become the South real fast. Because why did my Midwestern ass try to be like super nice and sweet and ask for patience? And then yesterday, I think the woman on the phone who was trying to help me with my like route and stuff, she sighed. I think she thought she was muted, or she just didn't give a fuck. And that gave very New York. So I think that the coasts mimic each other in like their patience, as well as how they are nice or kind versus the other one. I think Midwesterners and Southerners are more likely to be nice versus kind, and the East and West Coasterners are more likely to be kind versus nice, right? They might be rude, but they're gonna help you do what you're gonna do, you know? Something I'll take with me is a mindset this one woman had, and she ate with this. Like one time I was about to open the door for her, and she pressed the like disabled button, like the button for people, if you're disabled, you can come through. And she said, no, no, sweetie, princesses don't get their own doors. And I was like, oh, I'm biting that shit. So now I'm gonna probably almost always use that button. And if people ask me why, I'm gonna say princesses don't use their own doors, or don't open their own doors, duh. And I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna walk by. Learned something else I've learned about like my career life. I've learned, I think I've burnt myself out a bit. Like I was trying so hard here to like get into a corporate space really, really fast, and like just pushed for that for like a while to get a car, and then I could focus more on music. But I've learned if I'm not earning enough, and on top of that I'm not working on what I want to work on outside of work, I become burnt out in life so fast. And so I've become a bit burnt out. I think I've just learned that like I would rather have a decent paying, even a fast food job that doesn't take up more than 40 hours a week, but pays like a decent living Midwestern wage. And then I can go home, work on what I want to work on, get everything I need to done, have some fun me time, and go to bed, wake up, and do it all over again, than to go to a job like what I was doing here. It's like a hassle to explain, but imagine I spent probably 16 of my hours here almost every day for like 3 weeks solely on just this corporate sales job. And I realized, I don't like sales. Hi y'all, it's editing me, and I thought I'd make this video because like there's this little cut where it's like things don't clip well in the video of what I've learned. I went on a bit of a spiel, but basically, I learned I didn't like sales because it's based in negotiation, which in my opinion is more so, at least in capitalism, based on a lack of implied consent, like an implied lack of consent, versus what I really wanted to learn, if capitalism does fall, is compromise. Although I feel like negotiation might be better dealing with people in general, because at least most of the oppressive classes don't want to compromise with the oppressed. So I think that would have been good to like soak in. But because I went through that sales experience, I also learned like things related back to dancing, which is just sex work, and sex work is sales. And so it went back to dancing, and a lot of my insecurities, a lot of everything just popped up, just like in dancing. And so basically all of this to say into the next clip, where I just explained that basically because of all I've learned and how it ties in so well, and the critiques, like the constructive critique I kept getting in 2024 onward, I'm not doubting what I believe. Like what like beliefs that are based in what I've learned. Like if I've learned facts about myself, about like an object, if I have experiences that prove my talent and my worth, I'm not relying on others to verify that for me, and I'm not dwindling myself to make others feel comfortable with me possibly knowing more than them. I'm not. That's basically it. So I think my biggest goal for the rest of 2024 into 2025 is to be confident in what I know and to not be ashamed of being confident. That's that right there. I can't be ashamed to be confident. Like, there's so much that goes into that mindset in my head, but like from now on, I'm done being ashamed of being confident and of being good and of knowing it too. I'm done. I said that like a few months back. I started it, I stopped it. We're gonna really work on that this time. So, what else have I learned? Oh, I've learned I want to be a manifesting it girly so bad, but I've learned I don't necessarily believe in manifestation so much as the law of attraction, although they do almost go hand in hand. I believe in the law of attraction way more because it's like if you're positive, positivity will come back to you, and that's true in the mindset of like however you perceive your life in this moment is how it's going to feel looking back, and if you keep perceiving it positively, you are way more likely to feel like things are positive down the line versus if you perceive it negatively and it's going to feel negative down the line. So I believe in that. However, the law of attraction doesn't necessarily mean that you'll only have good things happen to you. Neither does manifestation. However, manifestation really does give way more like, and I hear a lot more manifestation girlies say this than law of attraction girlies say it. Like, although both sort of say it honestly, but way more manifestation girlies will say, oh, well, you can like, they'll sort of imply you brought your sickness onto you by yourself. And I'm like, ooh, yikes. I feel like that's the big crux when it comes to manifestation. Basically, people's suffering being summed up to like how they're feeling. When in reality, I've started to accept we don't manifest our suffering, not even that we let it happen. Like people that I don't know how to get into it without getting into like praxis and like anti-capitalist speech. And so like all together for me, I'm leaning way more towards the law of affirmation on regards to positivity versus manifestation for positivity, because I don't want to ever tell myself that like, oh, negative things in history came because people were negative. No. It all too quickly reminds me of like believing in God, but God excused slavery. So it's just like, different strokes, different folks, but it's not for me as much anymore. I saw a Instagram reel that said like, if so you believe in manifestation, explain that to a houseless person. And I said, oh, wow. And it just hit me in my gut too much that I couldn't ignore it. I just couldn't ignore it. Something else I've learned is that a lot of my dreams when it comes to like being big and like being super rich and famous or just having a lot of money comes from wanting to be validated on the outside, and it comes from a desire for power. And I saw a TikTok or an Instagram that was a Twitter like post at some point that said, someone said, you don't want like money, you want power. And then someone above that said, you don't want power, you want safety. And I said, yeah, I do want safety, because like if I had the safety, I wouldn't need the money or the power. I wouldn't want or need the money or the power. Something I've noticed with me is like, I'll get roommates and then I'll think we're good and stuff, but then they won't really talk to me and I'll think they're pissed off with me or something about something I've said out loud to myself in my room. And I've realized now, I don't think we hear each other half the time. But even so, like, I'm learning also that like we don't, you know how people say, oh, I want to be someone people talk to, but no one talks to me. And then other people turn it back on them and say, talk to people. I've learned in my past that that's bullshit rhetoric. to some degree. Like, I've learned being myself and like being happy and being awkward and shy. Like, the reason people didn't talk to me back in college, went to PWI for one, but also because I realized like they kept when they talked to me after graduation, they picked up on my autism and queerness. They just didn't want to associate with it. And they don't say that, but the way I talk to them gives, oh, okay, fuck you, type shit. And so now I know it's similar, but like in the case of roommates, I've realized like you need to be very proactive. Just be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to hang out? Like 4 or 5 times. And then if they say no every time, let it go. But like, I should have tried more, but like not having a car is like, it's hard. Another thing I've learned is like, I have been like, I've mentioned I've been codependent. And so like when I was with my partner in Indiana, we would go look at like houses. And I was talking to them over the phone. And I said, damn, all those times I was looking at houses to make me calm, I should have been looking at cars. So I think something I've learned, and they agreed with me, I think something I've learned when I go back is that I'm going to start looking at cars. I'm definitely going to start looking at driving lessons because I'll be fucking damned if I don't have my license by the end of December. Oh, something else I've learned about myself in regards to like my job and sales or whatever I do. I realize now my teachers back in college must have picked up on my insecurities, and so they didn't reinforce that with negativity. I know with this job that I had for like 3 weeks, I was reminded every week that I would be like, I could be fired. And it destroyed my confidence. It freaked me the fuck out. I could not focus on it. But back in college, when I was new to learning singing, no one told me, oh, you have to give up. You're done. We're cooked. You don't know what a fucking minor step is. You're done. We're done. You don't know what a half step is. You don't know what like accidentals versus like natural keys or enharmonic keys type shit. You're done. We're done. There was one time I think I overheard my music theory professor saying like I can't explain to you any better what like a half step or a semitone is. Like, if you don't get that, then I can't help you. And I cried. I remember being so sad about it because I overheard him say that shit. And then I had to face him for the next 4 years like he didn't say that shit about me. No, I was so hurt. But I didn't let it get to me. And I think my best day at working in sales was my last day because I almost got so many people because I told myself, you know what? I'm quitting. It doesn't matter. I'm quitting. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so like I've learned if someone's new to something, especially if like I'm successful in it, I don't ever want to like badger them with fear. I want to badger them with hope. And I think in the future, if someone keeps badgering me with fear, I'm going to let it go because like that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me. And it makes me think of all the times I badgered other people with fear. And I'm like, damn, that was terrible of me. Because it's like, what the fuck? How is someone supposed to like feel safe and calm around you if you're reminding them every 5 fucking minutes that like they ain't shit or that you could just fucking boom, you could go. So like I really do think I'll be way more kinder in the future in regards to like reinforcing hope versus negativity, as well as in myself. That's another thing I've learned. You cannot be positive towards others without being positive towards yourself. And before you say, yes, you can, it won't be earnest. That's the thing that people miss out on. Like when RuPaul says, how the hell you gonna love somebody else if you don't already love yourself? They're not saying, oh, you can't give out love if you don't love yourself. They're saying, how can you be earnest in your giving out of love if you don't love yourself? Like something I've learned, if you don't love yourself enough, usually, and you're giving out love to other people, you're usually a people pleaser. So if you give out too much love and you don't love yourself and you're people pleasing, you will be mad eventually and you'll stop giving out love because you expected a return on investment, when in reality, love is not about return on investments. One more thing I've learned. I can dedicate so much when I believe in something, but if it's not followed with consistent like return on investment, I can burn out so fast. Because I've learned I can really study and do really, really well. I've also learned when I study, I need to make sure I'm studying to understand versus memorize, because I can study to memorize really good, but like I must understand it, or else it's just I become too robotic. But like I can like wake up at 4 after going to bed at 12, get up, eat something, walk or take out some trash, and come back and like have some fun, and then at 6 get ready and then go to the bus, and then ride the bus, go to the office, Uber to work, stay there for 6 to 8 hours on my feet, ride the bus back home, get home, study for 2 hours, go to sleep, wake up. I can do that sort of thing, and sometimes even without a lunch break. I can do that for like 12 hours in my day, but it has to be a return on investment so good that it makes all the struggle worth it. Like, I feel like if I was a performer, like a dancer or a singer, that would be so worth it for me. That'd be so fun, in my opinion. But in corporate business America, that's not for me. I'm not gonna over dedicate. I refuse. But I do better with that when it's like a schedule that like has been given to me versus I have to make myself. And on top of that, if I'm not interested in something, I cannot force myself to work on it. I just hate it. There's probably ADHD in there somewhere, but that's everything I've learned, and hopefully I'll have more fun videos. Well, I will have more fun videos coming up. I'm not gonna say when, but they're coming. I'm working on them. I got one in CapCut right now. It's gonna be before this one. But have a good one. Bye.